The rain pounded against the windows of the small coffee shop in downtown Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside Ivy's chest. She stared at her best friend Jamie across the table, the words Jamie had just uttered hanging in the air like a noose. I love you, Ivy. Not as a friend. I've always loved you that way. Ivy's coffee cup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor, drawing stares from nearby patrons, but she couldn't move, couldn't breathe, as the foundation of their 10-year friendship cracked wide open. Ivy Thompson had always prided herself on her predictability. At 28, she was the epitome of stability. A mid-level accountant at a firm in the bustling heart of the city, engaged to her high school sweetheart Mark, and deeply rooted in her conservative Catholic family. Her parents, devout and traditional, had raised her and her siblings in a suburb where Sunday Mass was non-negotiable and family dinners were laced with expectations of marriage and grandchildren. Jamie Reyes, on the other hand, was the wild card Ivy had befriended in college. With her sharp wit, tattooed arms hidden under professional blazers, and a career as a graphic designer, Jamie embodied freedom, something Ivy admired from afar but never dared to chase. That afternoon they were supposed to be discussing wedding plans. Ivy's big day was 6 months away, and Jamie, as maid of honor, had been helping with everything from invitations to venue scouting. But as the conversation drifted to Ivy's doubts about the rushed engagement, doubts she'd only hinted at, Jamie had leaned in, her dark eyes intense, and confessed. The words hit like a freight train. Ivy's mind raced back to fleeting moments. The way Jamie's hand lingered on her shoulder during movie nights, the protective glare she'd shoot at Mark when he dismissed Ivy's opinions, the late-night texts that felt too intimate. Had she been blind or had she chosen not to see? I don't know what to say, Ivy stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. The cafe's chatter faded into a distant hum. Jamie reached across the table, but Ivy pulled back instinctively. This can't be real. You're my best friend. Mark. My family. God, Jamie, what are you doing? Jamie's face crumpled, but she didn't retract her words. Instead, she explained how she buried her feelings for years, watching Ivy build a life that didn't include her in that way, until the wedding plans made it unbearable. I had to tell you before it's too late, she said. Even if it ruins everything. The drive home was a blur. Ivy gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, replaying the scene. How could Jamie drop this bomb now? Betrayal stung deep, not just because of the confession, but because it unearthed questions Ivy had suppressed. In college, there had been a girl in her dorm, Sarah, whose smile made Ivy's stomach flip in ways she attributed to admiration. She'd pushed it down, labeling it as curiosity, and focused on Mark, the safe choice her parents adored. Now at 28, those buried feelings clawed their way up, threatening to dismantle her carefully constructed world. That night, Ivy lay awake beside Mark, who snored softly, oblivious. She couldn't tell him. Not yet. The thought of his reaction, hurt, anger, confusion, twisted her gut. And her family? Her mother, who volunteered at the church and prayed the rosary daily, would see this as a moral failing. Her father, a stoic engineer, might disown her for straying from the path. Society's whispers loomed too. The judgmental glances at work, the loss of friends who wouldn't understand. But beneath the fear was a spark, a dangerous curiosity about what life with Jamie could mean. The next morning, Ivy avoided Jamie's calls. She threw herself into work, crunching numbers until her eyes blurred. But by lunch, the silence gnawed at her. She texted Jamie, "We need to talk. Meet me at the park after work." The decision felt like stepping off a cliff. As she waited on a bench overlooking Puget Sound, the wind whipping her hair, Jamie approached, looking haggard. "I'm sorry if I hurt you," Jamie began, but Ivy cut her off. "You didn't just hurt me. You changed everything." "Why now?" Jamie admitted the wedding had forced her hand. Seeing Ivy commit to a life that felt wrong to her was too much. They talked for hours, the conversation veering from anger to tears. Ivy confessed her own doubts about Mark. Not love but obligation. By dusk, as they walked side by side, their hands brushed accidentally, sending a jolt through Ivy. She pulled away, but the damage was done. The seed of possibility had been planted. Over the following weeks, the tension built like a pressure cooker. Ivy found excuses to see Jamie more, under the guise of wedding prep. Each meeting peeled back layers. Jamie shared stories of her own coming out in college, the rejection from her extended family in California, and the freedom she'd found in Seattle's progressive circles. Ivy envied that courage, but with it came guilt. Mark noticed her distraction, attributing it to pre-wedding jitters. "You're just nervous, babe," he'd say, pulling her into a hug that felt increasingly hollow. One evening during a family dinner, the cracks showed. Ivy's mother, Evelyn, gushed about the wedding dress fitting. "You'll make such a beautiful bride," she said, eyes shining. Ivy forced a smile, but inside she screamed. Her brother, Tom, joked about grandkids, and her father nodded approvingly. The weight of their expectations crushed her. Later, alone in her room, she called Jamie, whispering, "I can't do this. But I don't know how to stop." Jamie's voice was steady. "You don't have to decide now. But don't live a lie for them." The words echoed, fueling Ivy's inner turmoil. Was she betraying her family by even considering this? Or betraying herself by ignoring it? As the days blurred, Ivy's decisions grew riskier. She canceled a date night with Mark to meet Jamie at a quiet bar. There, under dim lights, they shared vulnerabilities Ivy had never voiced. "I've always felt like something's missing," Ivy admitted. Jamie listened, her presence a balm. But as they left, Jamie leaned in, their lips inches apart. Ivy froze, heart pounding, then stepped back. "I can't," she said, fleeing into the night. The near miss haunted her, a taste of what could be, and the destruction it promised. The following morning, Ivy woke to a barrage of texts from Mark. "Where were you last night? We had plans." Panic surged. She'd forgotten the dinner reservation in her haste to escape the bar. She lied, "work emergency," and hated herself for it. Deception wasn't her style, but honesty felt impossible. Mark accepted the excuse, but his tone was clipped. "Lately, you're always somewhere else," he said over breakfast. Ivy mumbled apologies, avoiding his eyes. The guilt compounded, layering over her confusion about Jamie. At work, focus eluded her. Numbers swam on the screen as her mind replayed the almost kiss. What if she'd leaned in? The thought terrified and thrilled her. During lunch, she scrolled through old photos. Her and Jamie at Pride parades she'd attended as an ally, laughing arm in arm. Had those moments meant more to Jamie? To her? She slammed her phone down, drawing a concerned glance from a colleague. "Everything okay?" they asked. "Just wedding stress," she lied again. That afternoon, Jamie called. "We can't keep avoiding this," she said. Ivy agreed to meet at Jamie's apartment, a cozy loft in Capitol Hill, Seattle's vibrant LGBTQ+ hub. The neighborhood's rainbow flags mocked Ivy's internal chaos as she climbed the stairs. Inside, Jamie had prepared tea, but the air was thick with unspoken words. "I didn't mean to push you last night," Jamie started. Ivy shook her head. "It's not you. It's me. I don't know who I am anymore." They sat on the couch, knees touching accidentally. Jamie opened up about her past relationships, women who'd left her for normal lives, fearing societal backlash. "I won't do that to you," Ivy promised, but even as she said it, doubt crept in. The conversation deepened. Ivy admitted her family's rigid views, her mother's subtle homophobia masked as concern for souls, her father's silence on anything alternative. "They'd never accept this," Ivy whispered. Jamie countered gently. "But what about accepting yourself?" The word struck home. For the first time, Ivy voiced her attraction not just to Jamie but to women in general. It felt like shedding a skin too tight. Tears flowed as Jamie held her, a platonic embrace that carried undercurrents of more. "We'll figure it out," Jamie murmured. But figuring it out meant choices. Ivy began pulling away from Mark subtly. Shorter calls, vague plans. He sensed it, confronting her one evening. "Is there someone else?" he asked, voice breaking. Ivy's heart shattered. "No," she lied, the word tasting like ash. But there was, emotionally at least. The lie bought time, but at what cost? Mark's trust eroded, their relationship fracturing. Family pressures mounted. Evelyn called daily about wedding details, her excitement a knife twist. During a fitting, as Ivy stood in her gown, mirror reflecting a bride she didn't recognize, her mother beamed. "Mark's such a good man. You'll be happy." Ivy nodded, throat tight. That night, she drove to Jamie's, collapsing into her arms. "I can't marry him," she sobbed. Jamie comforted her but warned, breaking it off will hurt everyone. Ivy knew. The decision loomed a precipice. Weeks passed in a haze of secret meetings. Ivy and Jamie explored their feelings cautiously. Walks in the rain, shared meals, deep talks. Each interaction intensified the bond but also the fear. One night at a gallery opening Jamie dragged her to. They mingled with Jamie's queer friends. Ivy felt out of place yet alive. Conversations about identity, acceptance, that her world lacked. A woman flirted with Jamie, jealousy flaring in Ivy unexpectedly. Later alone she confronted it. I don't want to share you. Jamie's smile was bittersweet. Then choose me. The choice came to a head at a family barbecue. Mark was there, charming everyone. Ivy watched him, guilt gnawing. When her father pulled her aside, praising the match, she cracked. What if it's not right? She ventured. He frowned. Marriage isn't always easy, but it's what's expected. The word expected echoed. That evening she told Mark everything, almost. I need space, she said instead. He stormed out, hurt etched on his face. Alone, Ivy called Jamie. I did it. But it feels like I've betrayed him. Jamie's response was measured. You betrayed a lie. Now face the truth. But truth brought backlash. Mark called her parents, confused and angry. Evelyn confronted Ivy. What's going on? Mark says you're distant. Ivy evaded, but the web of lies tangled. Inner conflict raged. Was pursuing Jamie selfish? Moral. Her faith wavered, church teachings clashed with her heart. Therapy sessions started in secret helped unpack it, but answers were elusive. As summer faded, Ivy moved out temporarily, crashing at a friend's, really Jamie's. The proximity tested boundaries. One argument erupted. Jamie pushed for openness, Ivy feared fallout. You're ashamed of me, Jamie accused. No, of myself, Ivy retorted. They reconciled, but scars formed. The price of awakening was steep. Lost sleep, strained relationships, a fractured self-image. Autumn leaves crunched underfoot as Ivy walked through Volunteer Park. Her mind a whirlwind. Moving in with Jamie had been impulsive, a band-aid on a gaping wound. Mark had moved on or tried dating casually, his updates via mutual friends a sting. Ivy's family sensed the rift. Evelyn's calls turned probing. When are you two reconciling? She'd ask. Ivy dodged, but pressure built. At work, rumors swirled. Trouble in paradise? Colleagues' sympathy masked judgment. Jamie, ever the optimist, planned dates to distract. Picnics, hikes in the Cascades. Each outing deepened their connection. Ivy discovered joy in simple touches. A hand-hold, a shared glance, that Mark's affection never sparked. But doubt lingered. What if this is a phase? Ivy confided one night, curled on the couch. Jamie tensed. It's not. But if you think that, maybe we shouldn't. The unfinished sentence hung. A threat to their fragile bond. The first major confrontation came at Thanksgiving. Ivy's family insisted she attend alone. Mark's welcome too, Evelyn added pointedly. Ivy arrived solo, nerves frayed. The dinner table buzzed with normalcy, but tension simmered. Tom, her brother, teased. So wedding off? Ivy snapped. It's complicated. Silence fell. Her father cleared his throat. Family sticks to values. Don't throw away a good thing. Evelyn's eyes welled. We just want you happy. But their version of happiness suffocated. Post-dinner, Ivy fled to Jamie's. They'll never understand, she cried. Jamie held her, but frustration showed. You have to tell them eventually. Ivy nodded, but fear paralyzed. Days later, she drafted an email coming out but deleted it. The moral quandary tormented. Was loving Jamie wrong? Church friends quoted scripture. Online forums debated. Ivy's awakening felt like rebellion against her upbringing. Betrayal struck from unexpected quarters. A mutual friend, Lisa, spotted Ivy and Jamie holding hands. Word spread. Mark confronted Ivy at a coffee shop. Is it her? My God, Ivy. Hurt flashed in his eyes. You lied to me. Ivy apologized profusely, but damage was done. Mark cut ties, blocking her. The loss ached. A decade of history erased. Family fallout escalated. Evelyn, tipped off by Lisa, called hysterically. Is it true? You're with a woman. Ivy's silence confirmed. This is a sin. Think of your soul. Her father's voice boomed in the background. Disgraceful. They demanded she come home. Ivy refused, hanging up. The rejection cut deep, echoing childhood fears of not measuring up. Jamie supported, but strain showed. I'm proud of you, she said, but her own wounds reopened. Past family estrangements. Arguments flared. Ivy's hesitation versus Jamie's impatience. I can't wait forever, Jamie warned. Ivy retaliated. I'm sacrificing everything. The push-pull tested their love. In therapy, Ivy unpacked layers, internalized homophobia, societal norms. You're not broken, the counselor said. Slowly acceptance dawned. But choices had consequences. Work suffered. A promotion slipped away amid distractions. Friends divided. Some rallied, others ghosted. A turning point came at a support group, Jamie suggested. Hearing others' stories, rejections, triumphs, empowered Ivy. I choose you, she told Jamie that night. They embraced, a commitment forged in fire. But euphoria was short-lived. Evelyn showed up unannounced, pleading. Come back to God. To us. Tears flowed as Ivy stood firm. This is who I am. Evelyn left, heartbroken, severing contact temporarily. The void hurt, but Ivy pressed on. She volunteered at LGBTQ+ centers, finding community. Jamie proposed a trip to San Francisco, a fresh start. En route, doubts resurfaced. Had she destroyed her family for this? The drive was silent, tension palpable. San Francisco's fog enveloped them like a shroud as Ivy and Jamie checked into a quaint hotel overlooking the bay. The trip was meant to heal, but old wounds festered. Ivy's phone buzzed incessantly, texts from Tom. Mom's a mess. Fix this. Guilt clawed at her. Jamie noticed. You can't carry their pain. But Ivy did, internalizing the blame. Sightseeing distracted briefly. Golden Gate walks, cable car rides. In Castro, surrounded by acceptance, Ivy felt free. They held hands openly, a novelty. But at a pride event, seeing families embrace queer kids triggered envy. Why can't mine? Ivy whispered. Jamie squeezed her hand. Give them time. Back in Seattle, reality crashed. Evelyn had cleared Ivy's childhood room, shipping belongings with a note. Until you repent. The betrayal stung worse than words. Ivy confronted her via video. You raised me to love. Why not this? Evelyn wept. It's not love, it's confusion. The call ended in stalemate. Jamie's patience waned. They're toxic, she argued. Ivy defended. They're family. The divide widened. One night after a fight, Jamie stormed out. I can't compete with ghosts. Alone, Ivy questioned everything. Was this worth it? The moral tightrope. Loyalty to self versus kin. Reconciliation attempts faltered. A meeting with her father at a neutral cafe. We love you, but not this lifestyle. Ivy challenged. It's not a choice. He left unmoved. Tom's support was lukewarm. I get it, but Mom's health. Pressure mounted. Evelyn's heart issues blamed on stress. At work, a colleague outed her subtly, leading to awkward silences. Ivy's confidence dipped, but she pushed back, joining an employee resource group. Empowerment grew, but at a cost. Isolation from old circles. Jamie returned apologetic, but trust frayed. They attended couples counseling, unpacking resentments. I feel like second place, Jamie admitted. Ivy vowed change, but habits died hard. A crisis peaked when Evelyn hospitalized for anxiety. Tom blamed Ivy. Your choice did this. Ivy rushed to the hospital, facing disdain. Go away, Evelyn whispered. Heartbroken, Ivy left, vowing no more. But doubt lingered. Was she the villain? With Jamie they rebuilt slowly. Shared dreams, travel, maybe marriage. But scars remained. Ivy wrote letters to her family, unsent, processing grief. As winter set in, a breakthrough, Tom reached out, neutral. Let's talk. Over coffee he listened. I don't understand, but you're my sister. Crack in the wall. Spring brought tentative renewal. Ivy and Jamie's relationship stabilized, fortified by trials. They moved to a new apartment, symbolizing fresh starts. Ivy thrived at work, advocating for inclusivity. But family ties dangled precariously. Evelyn's olive branch came via email. I miss you. Ivy responded cautiously, arranging a park meeting. Nerves jangled as they sat on a bench. I prayed for guidance, Evelyn said. I don't agree, but you're my daughter. Tears mingled with hugs. Her father remained distant, but it was progress. Jamie's family, more accepting, welcomed Ivy. Contrasts highlighted losses but also gains. Ivy reflected on the journey. Confessions, breakups, rejections. Each decision exacted a price: trust, relationships, self-doubt, but yielded authenticity. Yet shadows persisted. At a reunion with old friends, whispers followed. Mark, now engaged, nodded politely, a reminder of pain inflicted. Ivy pondered ethics. Had her choices been selfish? Necessary? In quiet moments, she and Jamie discussed futures. No regrets? Jamie asked. Ivy smiled. None. But inwardly she weighed the scales. The story culminated in a quiet ceremony, not marriage but commitment with close allies. As they exchanged vows, Ivy felt whole. But the path there, riddled with debates, was sacrificing family bonds for personal truth ever truly right? Or does it always leave irreparable damage?